Hello, my name is Kolo, and welcome back to another Spice and Wolf episode review. And now, finally, after 20 episodes, we're getting to newly adapted content, that being Volume 4 of the light novel and Volume 7 of the manga. I feel like we've been waiting for 20 years for this to be adapted, but starting the review, this episode covers, like I said, Volume 4, Chapter 1 of the light novel, and Chapter 36, Volume 7 of the manga. But starting the episode, we begin with Lawrence and Holo sleeping in the cart, with Holo having a bad dream, I'm assuming, which caused her to roll over, and that caused Lawrence to twist Holo's tail on accident, which then causes Holo to wake up out of her sleep, which then wakes Lawrence up and causes him to get up and step on Holo's tail on accident, and which also causes Holo to let out this scream, which we're about to listen to right now. And then the opening plays immediately after, which is crazy just to go into. First 30 seconds of the episode, I've never heard Holo scream like that before. Never expected to hear that type of noise from her. But then after the opening plays, Holo complains a little bit about what just happened. She also tells Lawrence that her tail is her pride and stepping on it means stepping on her pride. Well, I'm guessing that's what she's saying by all this. And throughout this episode, there's some more of these shots like these, which I can't really complain about. And somehow while Holo is talking, he falls asleep, which I wonder how tired he was, which also causes Holo to wake him up in a interesting way by holding his nose, which could easily suffocate him. And in the light novel, Lawrence actually gets punched twice for stepping on Holo's tail. He gets the two-piece combo. You know, this whole first part of the episode really was a chain reaction of unfortunate events. But after all that, it's finally morning and they're heading out to Terrio. Lawrence tells Holo on the way where they're going, and that they need to go through Enbirch to find how to get to Terrio, because he or they don't know where it is. Also, while going through the town, Holo complains about the bread that they've been eating and that it's been bitter, even though they carry goods other than the bread they eat almost every single day. And so after riding through town, they finally get to the miller where Lawrence wants to sell some of his wheat, but they can't deal with the wheat right now because they don't have the extra finances to deal with it. Also, while they're talking, Dot asks Lawrence where he's headed to. First and foremost, that being Terrio, and he wants to go to Lenos after that, saying that he has business with the church in Terrio. Lawrence asks Dot if he knows how to get to Terrio, and he tells him that there's a road. That road taking about a day to get there. Lawrence suggests that we rest here, but Holo wants to get to Terrio as fast as possible, so she says we'll just rest tomorrow at Terrio. So after a day's worth of travel, they finally get to see something. They get to see a miller's house with a water wheel, and the miller comes out of the house and greets Lawrence and Holo. The miller tells Lawrence that he's basically already in Terrio, and Lawrence asks the miller if he has business with him because he seems pretty talkative, and he brings up Holo. He seems pretty happy about this too. Lawrence tells the miller that Holo is a nun and that it's probably not a good idea to bring a nun into Terrio, and that being because the Church of Enbirch is fighting with the people of Terrio. Lawrence is about to pass when he sees that the miller kind of wants to say something, even after declining to do so. Lawrence then picks up on this and he asks the miller's name, and he gives him his, that being Evan. And they finally go with Evan waving and Holo waving back. And on their way to Terrio, Lawrence explains the job of millers and some of what they have to go through, and that being the reason why Evan really wants to leave this village, that also being the reason why he was so talkative to Lawrence. Holo kind of relates with the miller's job, with it being a job that most people really don't appreciate. Lawrence reassures her that there are people that appreciate it, the job that she did. And so they finally make it into the town of Terrio, passing by all of the residents, all the way to the church. Lawrence knocks on the church door, and we finally get to see a little sneak peek of Elsa, with this being her first introduction. And somehow I feel like I never noticed that she had golden eyes. With the light novel, I really didn't get to see her eyes colored. And in the manga, I guess I really didn't get to see it colored there. I think the only time I've seen her eyes was in the art book for the manga. You know, actually, let me just check right now. Yeah, she does. I guess, yeah, it's a lot lighter here in the anime. Also, her voice, I'm surprised it's as deep as it is. I think I expected it to be way lighter, but in this first introduction, she is being kind of harsh. So it does make sense for this scene. But continuing with the episode, Lawrence asks if he can meet the priest, which Elsa is, and Lawrence is surprised by that because you don't really see female priests like that, or all too often. Lawrence asks if there is an abbey here, and Elsa denies, saying that there isn't one. And Lawrence brings up Father Franz, the priest that died a year ago. He gets visibly angry and Lawrence backs off, and Lawrence and Holo find an inn to rest at, with also Holo telling Lawrence that she is definitely lying about not knowing about the abbey. And back at the inn, Holo seems to be getting a bit sleepy, and as I said earlier, I'm not complaining. And on Lawrence's way out to meet the head of the village, Holo teases him, and she gets him pretty good, saying that she's already received a pretty good gift. So Lawrence gets to the place where the village head is, his name being Sem. They get inside and Sem asks what his business here is, that being normal merchant things, and to find out where the abbey is. Sem says he doesn't know, with his eyes looking elsewhere, showing that he might actually know something. Sem also tells Lawrence a little bit about Father Franz and what he's done for Terrio. Then somebody comes banging on the door with something urgent to tell Sem. Lawrence then gets back to the inn with Holo, seeming pretty comfortable, sprawled out like that, even with her shoes on. Lawrence also falls asleep, waking up to a little bit of teasing. Also looking out the window, seeing Evan heading over to the church, and seeing this exchange between Evan and Elsa. Holo also sees this, and she seems pretty interested, with that reason being to study how Lawrence and Holo look to other people. This trips Lawrence up quite a bit, causing him to spill his mug. Lawrence tries to regain his composure, with also Holo saying that she doesn't think they pale in comparison to those two. After forcing the issue, Lawrence says that she's right and that they should gather more information, while also getting some food. He also brings up Sem and both Elsa hiding that they know about the abbey and what might be inside the abbey too. And that's where the episode comes to an end. Overall, a great episode to start an arc, with still so much to learn about Terrio and the inner workings of the village. I really like the music choice when Lawrence and Holo are speaking to Elsa. I couldn't tell if I've heard it before in the previous 19 episodes. Also, listening to Elsa's voice again, I think I like it quite a bit. I will take a little bit of getting used to, but I can't wait to hear more from her voice actress. I wonder who's directing this whole new arc. It does feel different in some ways to the previous 19 episodes, but I think they've done pretty good with the first episode of this new arc. But I think that's all I have to say about this episode. A lot of interesting moments with Holo and Lawrence. It's been a little while since I've read volume 4, but I think they handled this episode pretty well. But I think I'm going to end today's review here and tune in next week to see what happens next.